love of my life.
Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. Peace and Pan-Africanism, peace and Pan-Africanism. This is your big brother, Dr. Umar Ifatunde Oguntade, the Prince of Pan-Africanism, King Kong Consciousness, the notorious RB Jesus, the most relevant, the most requested, and the most revolutionary scholar orator on the planet Earth, the only black scholar alive to be invited to speak on every single continent and the Caribbean multiple times this century, the greatest Pan-Africanist since the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey and Osajifo, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, the greatest black school psychologist in American history, the number one most requested guest lecturer in university history. Brothers and sisters, I want to pick up where I left off yesterday. We are finishing tonight at midnight. I'm not going past midnight because I have things I need to get done. So, yesterday was part one. If you did not watch part one, go to my Instagram and watch the live I did yesterday afternoon entitled Coup d'etat. Don't believe the hype. The Democrats and Republicans are working together. Don't worry about my hair, my brother, because I don't know what's going on with you tutti frutti zesty types. Stop worrying about my hair, because I can promise you this. One thing for certain and two things is true. Your woman would rather be sitting on my lap as I do this live than laying in your bed next to you. Let me say it again. See, I didn't even want to go there with you dusty hoteps tonight, but okay. Your woman would rather be sitting on my lap as I do this live than laying next to you in your bed. And if you don't leave me alone, I'm going to give your queen the Ifatunde shakedown. I will butter her buns if you don't leave me the hell alone. I digress. How you doing tonight, Coco Chanel? How you doing tonight, Lioness May? How you doing tonight, Neoma Nova? How we doing tonight? They call me Mickey. Okay. Get rid of this zesty. Brothers and sisters, first of all, make sure you donate to the FDMG Academy, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. Make sure you donate to the FDMG Academy, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. Make sure you sign up for my Patreon, patreon.com/Dr. Umar, patreon.com/Dr. Dr. Umar. We just started the Race First book about Marcus Garvey. If you want to join the book club, Dr. Umar's online book club, go to patreon.com/DRUMAR. If you need to reach me by text message, 215-989-9858. If you need to reach me by text message, 215-989-9858. Tuesday, 1 week from tomorrow, is El Hajj Malik El Shabazz Malcolm X Day. Tuesday, 1 week from tomorrow, is El Hajj Malik El Shabazz Malcolm X Day. We will be at Ferncliff Cemetery at the grave site of the great Pan-Africanist El Hajj Malik El Shabazz. Join us at Malcolm's grave site in Ferncliff Cemetery from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. next Tuesday, May the 19th. And then his daughter, the beautiful and intelligent Ilyasa Shabazz, she will be hosting a celebration program in her father's honor at the Audubon Ballroom, where Brother Malcolm's life was unjustifiably and unfortunately taken from us, which is now called the Malcolm and Betty Shabazz Center. That program begins at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, May the 19th in Upper Manhattan. So we'll be at the grave site from 11 to 2, and then we'll be at the Malcolm and Betty Shabazz Center from 6 p.m. onward. I am not scheduled to speak, but I am coming to support. Brothers and sisters, I will be in Franklin, Virginia, Southampton County, Nat Turner Land. I will be in Franklin, Virginia, Southampton County, Virginia, Nat Turner Land. I will be in Franklin, Virginia, Southampton County, Nat Turner Land on Thursday, June 18 for the Juneteenth program. Thursday, June 18, Franklin, Virginia, in Southampton County. The next day, I will be at the Hampton Event Center, Hampton, Virginia, for the Juneteenth program that begins at 6 p.m. And then I will be in Dothan, Alabama, with my Alabama Africans. I will see you in Dothan, Alabama on Saturday, June the 20th. I will be in Cincinnati, Ohio, August the 20th. Nat Turner Land, August the 21st. I will be in Brixton, London, England for the Reparations Day March. Where are my British Africans at? Where are my British Africans at? My Scottish Africans, my Irish Africans, my French Africans. I want to see all my European Africans in London, August the 1st in Brixton for the annual Reparations Day March. I got a few other dates coming up. Let me just check. And then I'm going to get into my message because we're only going to be an hour. I might be in Charlotte, North Carolina next Saturday, May 23rd. I may be speaking in Charlotte, North Carolina next Saturday, May the 23rd. Where my Charlotte Africans at? Where my Carolina Africans at? Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I might be there June 12th, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Ethiopian World Federation Conference in New York City, July 15th and 16th. Ethiopian World Federation Conference in New York City, July 15th and 16th. Pine Bluff, Arkansas, November the 7th. Pine Bluff, Arkansas, November the 7th. And then I will be in Massillon, Ohio. Massilon, Massillon, Ohio, near Akron, outside of Cleveland. I'll be there either the first or second weekend in September. Sign up for Patreon, join the book club, join as a regular member, join as a free member, donate to the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy. Let's get into the message tonight. Let's get into the message tonight. Let's get into the message tonight. Brothers and sisters, we already dealt with the fact that they gutted Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. We already dealt with the fact that this coup d'etat of the black vote was planned 25 years ago. We already dealt with the fact that the Democrats and the Republicans are happy that they no longer have to worry about black voter power. We already dealt with the fact that at least half of the Supreme Court justices were appointed by two presidents who were not elected by the people, George Bush and Donald Trump. We already dealt with the fact that George Bush spent the first 8 years of the 21st century gentrifying predominantly black inner cities to reduce black control of elections in the inner city. The gentrification movement was not only about taking back the inner city in terms of real estate, it was about taking back the black vote and giving it to white people in the inner city. Let me say that again. George Bush's gentrification plan was not just about real estate. It was about white people taking back the voting power from blacks in the inner cities. We dealt with that. We dealt with the fact that Barack Obama was given to black people as a conciliatory prize because our entire history in America is that of taking one step forward and two steps backward. Our entire history in America is about taking one step forward and two steps backward. So they gave black people Barack Obama as the grand finale of concessions to the Negro community. Let me say that again. They gave Barack Obama to the black community for 8 years as a sign and a symbol that this is the last thing we're doing for you, and we won't be doing anything else for black people ever. So y'all going to take these 8 years of Barack Obama, and y'all can celebrate, y'all can meditate, y'all can congregate, y'all can do whatever y'all want. But once Obama's gone, we will never again do anything for blacks. So they gave you Obama to give you the illusion of inclusion. They gave you Obama to give you the illusion of inclusion. They gave you Barack to let you have your last party before they put us back in Jim Crow. Barack Obama was the grand finale of federal action on behalf of black people. I don't know if you all know this. We've had 10 presidents since Dr. King's assassination, not counting Lyndon Baines Johnson. We've had 10 presidents since Dr. King's assassination, not including Lyndon Baines Johnson. There was Nixon. There was Ford. There was Reagan. There was Carter. There was Bush. There was Clinton. There was Bush. There was Obama. There was Trump. There was Biden. There was Trump again. 10 presidents since Dr. King, not including Lyndon Baines Johnson. And guess what? Of those 10 presidents, 4 were Democrats. Carter, Clinton, Obama, and Biden. Of those 4 Democratic presidents, of the 10 presidents America has had since Dr. King's assassination. 2 of them were Southern Democrats, Bill Clinton, Jimmy Carter. Actually, 3 of them were Southern Democrats if you include Joe Biden, because technically Delaware was considered a Southern state. Yes, Delaware stood with Abraham Lincoln, but Abraham Lincoln allowed Delaware to keep her slaves. Technically, Delaware is the South. So Biden, a Southern Democrat, Clinton, a Southern Democrat, Jimmy Carter, a Southern Democrat. Of the 10 presidents since Dr. King, only 1 was a Northern Democrat, Barack Obama. The point that I'm making is that even though you had 4 Democratic presidents out of 10 since Dr. King's assassination, most of them were either Republicans or Southern Democrats with Republican values. Let me say that again. Even though you've had 10 presidents since Dr. King's assassination, all of them were either Republicans or Southern Democrats with Republican values. We call them Dixiecrats. Joe Biden, a Dixiecrat. Bill Clinton, a Dixiecrat. Jimmy Carter, a Dixiecrat. The only one who don't fit the mold was Hussein Obama. But Hussein Obama was put in the White House to make black people think you have arrived. Hussein Obama was put in the White House to make black people think you have arrived. I come on here tonight, brothers and sisters. Look it up. You don't know what a Dixiecrat is? Look it up. Did you have social studies class? Did you even go to high school? Anyway, I digress. I digress. I've come on here tonight, brothers and sisters. I come on here tonight to say you need to do 2 things, and you need to do it soon. I come on here tonight to say you need to do 2 things, and you need to do it soon. I come on here tonight to say you need to do 2 things, and you need to do it soon. Number 1, get your passport. Please get your passport. Get a passport for your husband. Get a passport for your wife. Get a passport for your son. Get a passport for your daughter. Get a passport for your elders. Get a passport for your toddlers. Get a passport for everyone in your family. Black people, listen to me. Get your passport. Things are getting crazy, and they're getting crazy quick in this country. Get your passport and make sure everyone in your family has one in case. We have to evacuate under emergency circumstances. Make sure, Alafia, Baba, I haven't forgotten you, Baba. I will definitely reach out. Alafia. Make sure you have a alternative African country or island in mind that you and your family will escape to in event of an emergency. Make sure you have identified an African country or a Central or South American country or a Caribbean island that is ruled by Africans that you and your family can escape to. I don't care if it's Jamaica. I don't care if it's Nigeria. I don't care if it's Bermuda. I don't care if it's Ghana. I don't care if it's Costa Rica. I don't care if it's Ethiopia. I don't care if it's Panama. I don't care if it's the Congo. But you had better identify your adoptive home in case the American African community has to evacuate under emergency circumstances. Now, for my FBA and ADOS brothers and sisters, I'm a black freedman, but I don't identify with those organizations. I want to know, what is the FBA ADOS plan to help black people as a result of the Supreme Court decision? And if martial law comes to this country and comes to the black community, because you Negroes been running around. You Negroes been running around talking about you haven't left nothing in Africa. You've been running around telling people you have more in common with white Americans than black Africans. You've been running around acting like black immigrants were the worst problem you have. What do you have to say now? What does FBA and ADOS have to say now that the Supreme Court has gutted the Voting Rights Act? That they can now legally break up any black voting district in America, making the black vote almost irrelevant. What is your plan to help our people? Because black immigrants had nothing to do with what the Supreme Court did. There are no African immigrants on the Supreme Court. There's no Caribbean African immigrants on the Supreme Court. There's no Canadian African immigrants on the Supreme Court. There's no Central American African immigrants on the Supreme Court. There's no South American African immigrants on the Supreme Court. There's no continental Africans on the Supreme Court. There's no Canadian Africans, no British African, no Australian African immigrants on the Supreme Court. So you can't blame the black immigrants for what just happened. But because you have more in common with white Americans than black Africans, I need to know, what is your plan to save our people in the event of a crisis? Get your passport, get your passport, get your passport. Also, get you some self-defense. And y'all know what I mean by self-defense. Make sure your self-defense is ready. Make sure your passport is ready. And if you are an African in America who does not live in a predominantly black neighborhood, I think you might want to relocate to a predominantly black neighborhood between now and Election Day on November the 3rd. I'm concerned about the safety of my people in this country between now and Election Day, November the 3rd. So if you do not live in a black community, if you one of those, I live in a white neighborhood, I think I'm better than black people who don't, you better rethink that. You better rethink that. Now, there was a Southern politician who said he wants the Supreme Court to revisit the 14th Amendment. The 14th Amendment. He wants the Supreme Court to overturn the 14th Amendment. Now, see, I've been teaching on this for years, but y'all didn't want to listen to me. I've been teaching on this for years, but y'all didn't want to listen to me. And I told you, any amendment to the Constitution that contradicts the intent of the founding fathers of this country, not my country, this country, anything in the Constitution that contradicts the intent of the original founding fathers of America most of whom were racist, all of whom were racist, and most of whom owned enslaved Africans. All of the founding fathers of America were racist, and most of the founding fathers of America owned enslaved Africans. And the Constitution, which is a pro-slavery document, let's be clear. I hope y'all listening to me. The U.S. Constitution is a pro-slavery document. And according to constitutional law, any amendment in the Constitution that contradicts the intent of the racist, slave-owning founding fathers of this country is automatically unconstitutional. Now, the 13th Amendment ended slavery except as a punishment for a crime. Except as a punishment for a crime. Except as a punishment for a crime. Once you go to jail, you are a ward of a state. You are in bondage. You are a slave. That's why our brothers and sisters in prison don't even make minimum wage, because they have been stripped of all rights. They are slaves. They still slave for the corporations in prisons. They are slaves. The prison is a plantation. And the reason they keep so many black people locked up in America's prisons is so we can work for damn near nothing, slaving for America's corporations. The prison system is the new plantation system. They still pick cotton, and they still have their labor exploited by America's corporations. Now, if the U.S. government is able to force the U.S. Supreme Court to revisit the 14th Amendment, which gives you equal protection under the law. When slavery ended in 1865, black freedmen had no protections. When the 13th Amendment was ratified in December of 1865, black freedmen had no protections. It wasn't until the 14th Amendment was ratified a few years later that we got some paper protections. The 14th Amendment provides you with equal protection under the law, and the 14th Amendment is what allows for birthright citizenship to exist. It is the 14th Amendment that's supposed to give you due process, the right to defend yourself when you're accused of a crime. What were black people between the 13th Amendment and the 14th Amendment? What was our status in America between the 13th Amendment and the 14th Amendment, brothers and sisters? That is a question. That is a question. What was the status of black freedmen between the ratification of the 13th Amendment in 1865 and the ratification of the 14th Amendment in 1868? 3 years later. Really 2 years later, because the 13th got passed in December. So 2 years later, for 2 years, we were not citizens of this country. What do you call someone? We weren't immigrants. We weren't citizens. We weren't refugees. So what was the status of black freedmen in America between the 13th Amendment in 1865 and the 14th Amendment in 1868? You wasn't an immigrant. You wasn't a citizen, and you wasn't a refugee. You know what your status was? You were a denizen. Has anybody ever heard of the word denizen? I need you to look up the word denizen, not to be confused with citizen. We were denizens between 1865 and 1868. Let me give you the definition of denizen. Denizen is an inhabitant, resident, or frequent visitor of a particular place, environment, or region. Denizen. Denizen. Black people were denizens in America between 1865 and 1868. Okay? You were denizen. Denizen. Now, what is a citizen? Citizen is a legally recognized member of a sovereign state. A citizen is a legally recognized member of a sovereign state who owes allegiance to the government and is entitled to the protection and privileges. Let me ask y'all a question. A denizen is a visitor or a resident or an occupant of a given location. That is a denizen. A citizen is a legal member of a particular state who is entitled to the rights and the privileges of that state. Which definition do you feel fits Black freedmen in America today? Which definition do you feel fits Black freedmen in America today? Do you think we are citizens, legal members of the U.S., who are entitled to the privileges, rights, and protections of America? Does that sound like us? Or does it sound like we are people occupying a land in which we exercise no rights, privileges, or protections? Dr. Umar, why are you bringing this up? What difference does it make whether we are denizens or citizens? You know why it matters? If the Supreme Court takes up the 14th Amendment and overturns your right to equal protection under the law, if the U.S. Supreme Court takes up the 14th Amendment and rules that African people are not entitled to equal protection under the law, you will be stripped of your citizenship that you don't have anyway, and you will be returned to the state of a denizen. And if you are returned to the state of a denizen, you are basically a 21st century slave, which also means that the Dred Scott decision is back in full effect. I don't think y'all listening to me. I said if the Supreme Court overturns the 14th Amendment for African people, Black freedmen, equal protection under the law, if the Supreme Court overturns equal protection for Black freedmen under the 14th Amendment, the Dred Scott case automatically becomes the ruling law for all Black freedmen in America. If you haven't read the Dred Scott case from cover to cover, you better read the Dred Scott case from cover to cover. Because if the Supreme Court overturns the 14th Amendment for Black people, the Dred Scott case, the Dred Scott Supreme Court decision will become the ruling law for Black freedmen. Let me read it to you. Dred Scott was born in the same county as the prophet Nat Turner. Dred Scott was born in the same county as the prophet Nat Turner. Dred Scott was born in the same county as the prophet Nat Turner, Southampton County, Virginia. But slavery would take him to Missouri. And Dred Scott's slave owner would take him into a free territory. And once Dred Scott gets to the free territory, he sues for the right to be free because slavery is not legal in that free state. And Supreme Court Chief Justice Roger B. Taney may he burn in eternal hell. On March the 6th, the same day as Ghana's independence, but more than 100 years before Ghana's independence, on March the 6th, Supreme Court Chief Justice Roger B. Taney offered the majority opinion for the Supreme Court, and I'm going to read it to you now. Please listen up. Save this live, share this live, study this live. Please listen up. March the 6th, 1857. This is the U.S. Supreme Court's decision in Dred Scott. And let me say to you all, the Dred Scott decision has never been overturned by the Supreme Court. I'm going to say it again. The Dred Scott decision has never been overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court. They claim that the 14th Amendment invalidated. They claim that the 14th Amendment invalidated it. They claim that the 14th Amendment invalidated the Dred Scott decision. But if the Supreme Court overturns the 14th Amendment, then the Dred Scott decision will be the ruling decision for all black freedmen in America. Let me read it to you. Y'all ready? Listen up closely. This is the U.S. Supreme Court decision in Dred Scott versus Sanford, handed down by the highest court in this country on March the 6th, 1857. Listen. A free Negro of the African race, whose ancestors were brought to this country and sold as slaves, is not a citizen within the meaning of the Constitution of the United States. Let me repeat that. I hope you are listening to me right now. Let me repeat that. A free Negro of the African race, whose ancestors were brought to this country and sold as slaves, is not a citizen within the meaning of the Constitution of the United States. When the Constitution was adopted, they were not regarded in any of the states as members of the community which constituted the state, and they were not numbered amongst its people or citizens. Consequently, the special rights and immunities guaranteed to citizens do not apply to them. And not being citizens within the meaning of the Constitution, they are not entitled to sue in that character in a court of the United States. And the circuit court has no jurisdiction in such a suit. The only two clauses in the Constitution which point to this race treat them as persons whom it was morally lawful to deal in as articles of property and to hold as slaves. Since the adoption of the Constitution of the United States, no state can, by any subsequent law, make a foreigner or any other description of persons citizens of the United States, nor entitle them to the rights and privileges secured to citizens by that instrument. A state, by its laws passed since the adoption of the Constitution, may put a foreigner or any other description of persons upon a footing with its own citizens, as to all the rights and privileges enjoyed by them within its dominion and by its laws. But that will not make him a citizen of the United States. Let me repeat that line. I'm going to come back to that. Let me repeat that line. But that will not make him a citizen of the United States, nor entitle him to sue in court, nor any of the privileges and immunities of a citizen in another state. The change in public opinion and feeling in relation to the African race, which has taken place since the adoption of the Constitution, cannot change its construction and meaning. And it must be constructed and administered now according to its true meaning and intention when it was formed and adapted. The plaintiff, Dred Scott, having admitted by his demurrer to the plea in abatement that his ancestors were imported from Africa, and sold as slaves. He is not a citizen of the state of Missouri, according to the Constitution of the United States, and was not entitled to sue in that character in court. This being the case, the judgment of the court below in favor of the plaintiff of the plea in abatement was erroneous. But if the plea in abatement is not brought up by this writ of error, the objection to the citizenship of the plaintiff, Dred Scott, a slave, is still apparent on the record, as he himself, in making act his case, states that he is of African descent, was born a slave, and claims that he and his family became entitled to freedom by being taken by their owner to reside in a territory where slavery is prohibited by an act of Congress, and that, in addition to this claim, he, Dred Scott, himself became entitled to freedom, being taken to Rock Island in the state of Illinois, and being free when he was brought back to Missouri. He was by the laws of that state a citizen. If, therefore, the facts he states do not give him or his family a right to freedom, the plaintiff is still a slave. The plaintiff is still a slave. The plaintiff is still a slave and is not entitled to sue as a citizen, and the judgment of this court was erroneous on that ground without any reference to the plea. Brothers and sisters, that decision that I just read, may be revisited by the current U.S. Supreme Court if the bigots of America are successful in forcing the U.S. Supreme Court to revisit that 14th Amendment. Because according to that decision I just read, the founding fathers of America never intended African people to be citizens of this country. But if you heard me when I just read that decision, Supreme Court Justice Roger B. Taney, that devil said that a state can give black people the right to be a citizen in that state. And if the state gives you a right to be a citizen in that state, you are still not a citizen of the United States. Did y'all hear when I read that? You know what they're going to try to do? Let me tell you what they're going to try to do. They want to overturn the 14th Amendment. And then they want every state to decide if they want black people as citizens. I'm going to say it again. Listen to me. Listen to me. They want each of the 50 states to decide if they want black people to be citizens in their state. And only if the state allows you to be a citizen can you reapply as a citizen of the United States. Did y'all hear that, brothers and sisters? In other words, they want to reduce you to the same status as a black immigrant seeking American citizenship. I hope FBA and ADOS is listening right now. I hope all my FBA and ADOS Africans are listening right now. If the conservatives get their way, somebody said they won't go that far. They just stripped your ass of the right to have a predominantly black voting district. And you just said they won't go that far. See, that's the problem with the American Negro. You trust your slave master so much. That's the problem with the American Negro. You trust your slave master so much that you actually thinks he loves you. They are going to try to get the Supreme Court to decide that American African freedmen were never intended to be citizens by the founders of the United States Constitution. Therefore, their citizenship is revoked, but they can apply for citizenship in their home state. And if the home state grants them citizenship, they can reapply to be a citizen of America. They're going to make you a black immigrant in a country you built. They're going to make you a black immigrant in the country you built. And I got more bad news for you. If they overturn the 14th Amendment, I can promise you, if they overturn the 14th Amendment, I can promise you, they are going to look at the 13th Amendment. They are going to look at the 13th Amendment. They are going to revisit slavery, not to put you back in chains. Nope. Not to put you back in chains, but to allow another human being to own you. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. They are going to chain gang us back. They're going to say, because you committed this crime, you are now an indentured servant of the family you committed the crime against. You are now an indentured servant of the corporation you committed the crime against. Let me give you an example. Let's say you go down to the shopping mall. Let's say you go to Ralph Lauren, you go into Foot Locker, you go into the Gucci store, and you steal a Birkin bag, or you steal some Gucci flip-flops. You steal a pair of Air Jordans out of Foot Locker. Let's say you go into the iPhone store, you go into the Apple store, and you steal an iPad, and you get convicted. Guess what they're going to do? They're not going to sentence you to jail. They're going to sentence you to indentured servitude to the Apple Corporation. They're going to sentence you to indentured servitude to Foot Locker. They're going to sentence you to indentured servitude to Walmart. They're going to sentence you to indentured servitude to McDonald's. Is that a snowman? How dare you come on my live? How dare you bring your ass on my live, sir? You melanin deficient, sun cursed, reptile lip having devil. How dare you come on my live and try to see? I don't go into the ice community and bother y'all. I don't go into the the frostbit, the ice community, the mayonnaise, the milk. I don't bother the Snow Kingdom. You have never seen me disrespect a member of the Snow Kingdom. I have never infiltrated one of your lives. I ain't never tried to touch your wife, your daughter, your sister. I'm just taking care of my people. But you narcissistic, sociopathic, psychopathic, genetically recessive, reptile-lipped, melanin deficient, sun-cursed demons got the nerve. No disrespect to my white fans. No disrespect to my white fans. No disrespect to my white fans, but I got to check one of your fellow brethren. I got to check one of your fellow brethren for disrespecting my sacred space. I don't go where I'm not wanted. And I would appreciate it if they didn't go where they're not wanted. Brothers and sisters, you are going to start seeing black people indentured out to corporations in exchange for prison time. I promise you, in the next 25 years, Black America is going to look totally different. Phenotypically and politically. And let me say this to the white Democrats. Oh, let me say this to the black Democrats first. I got a message for the Congressional Black Caucus. I have a message for the Congressional Black Caucus. We're going to finish at midnight. I got 20 minutes. I will finish on time. I got a message for the Congressional Black Caucus. I feel sorry for y'all. I feel sorry for the Congressional Black. I feel sorry for y'all. You know why? Y'all sat back and let the Democrats conspire with the Republicans. I'm talking to the Congressional Black Caucus right now. I'm talking to the Congressional Black Caucus right now. I'm talking to those 59 Negroes on Capitol Hill whose job description I would like to know, because they've done nothing for us this century. But I want to say this to the Congressional Black Caucus. You sat back and you let the Republicans and Democrats strategize to take away voting power from predominantly black districts, and you did nothing about it. You did nothing about it. And now your job in Congress is under duress. You are at risk of losing your seat. Some of you have been there since I was a little kid. Some of you have been in Congress since I was a little child. It's the only job you've ever had. It's the only thing you know how to do. And now you are about to get put out by the same Democrats you've been helping to get reelected year after year after year. Once they split up Memphis, and once they split up New Orleans, and once they split up Shreveport, and once they split up Baton Rouge, and once they split up Charleston, South Carolina, and once they split up Columbia, South Carolina, and once they split up Rock Hill, South Carolina, and once they split up Jackson, Mississippi, and once they split up Biloxi, Mississippi, once they finish slicing up all the predominantly black districts, you will not have enough black votes to get reelected to Congress. Y'all thought y'all was so smart. Y'all thought y'all was so smart working with these Democrats, and look what they done did to your ass. The reason the Congressional Black Caucus is tripping out right now is they know that this racial gerrymandering of predominantly black voting districts is going to get them elected out of office. And it is all their fault. So let me ask the Congressional Black Caucus this. Let me ask our black congressmen and women one simple question. Will the white Democrats in Congress go to their white constituents and beg them to vote for your black ass. I'm going to ask the question one more time. Since y'all part of the Democratic Party, since y'all all part of the colorblind Democratic Party, I got a question for y'all. Get off. This is a zesty fester. Oh my goodness. So, black congresspersons of the Democratic Party, do you think you can go to your Democratic colleagues and ask them to go to their white constituents and beg them to vote for a black person in Congress? You know that's not going to happen. You know there's not a Democrat in Congress that is going to go ask white people to vote for your black ass. I know you know that's not going to happen. You got elected because you come from a predominantly black voting district. Let me say it again. You got elected because you come from a predominantly black voting district. Let me say it one more time. You got elected because you come from a predominantly black voting district. Now that they done gerrymandered your predominantly black voting district and attached it to a much larger white voting district, who is going to vote you all back in office? White people are not going to vote for y'all, and y'all know it. So you know what that means. If there's 60 U.S. congresspersons, there might only be 40 of y'all November 3rd. It might only be 20 of y'all in 1 year, and the Congressional Black Caucus might not even exist in 2 years. Did y'all hear what I said, brothers and sisters? Brothers and sisters, are y'all listening to me? The Congressional Black Caucus might not even have enough people to sustain it in 2 more election cycles. By the time y'all vote for the next president in 2028, by the time y'all vote for the next president in 2028, how many black congresspersons will still exist? Of those 59, how many will we have after November of 2028? How many are we going to have after November of 2026? And it's all their fault because they betrayed us to the white Democrats. The black Democrats betrayed us to the white Democrats, and now you don't have enough black votes in your own district to stay in Congress. And none of those white Democrats who you've been helping get reelected on the black vote is going to go out of their way and ask any white people to vote for your black ass. I am so embarrassed for us right now. I am so embarrassed for us right now. I cannot believe we allowed ourselves to get put in this position. And let me say this. And I know the Democrats ain't gonna like it. And I know the Democratic Party plantation slaves ain't gonna like it. But let's be honest. Democrats don't care about black people. Republicans don't care about black people. The only difference between the Democrat and the Republican is the Republican don't need your vote. The Democrats do. That's the only difference. They don't care about you. They care about your vote. And I need black people to make a distinction. I need black people to make a distinction. I need black freedmen to make a distinction. The Democrats are paranoid, not because they care about you. Didn't Bill Clinton lock up more black people than any president in American history? Didn't Wild Bill Clinton lock up more black people than any president in United States history? Did the Democrats do anything about that? Did the Democrats do anything about Wild Bill Clinton filling up the prisons with black people? No. No. They don't care about black people. They care about the black vote. There's a difference between caring about black people and caring about the black vote. The Democratic Party don't care about black people. They only care about the black vote. And do you know what's really making me upset right now? In my last 13 minutes, let me tell you what's really making me upset. I'm seeing black journalists, so-called journalists, run around telling black people, if you want to change what's happening, you have to make sure you vote on November the 3rd. If you want to change what the Supreme Court just did, you need to vote November the 3rd. Can I ask you a question? The Supreme Court cannot be voted off the bench. And Supreme Court decisions cannot be reversed through a vote. So if every black person in America votes on November the 3rd, nothing changes about the Supreme Court. Stop trying to manipulate black people into voting for white Democrats on November the 3rd. Stop it. Stop it. No vote can change what the Supreme Court just did. I am not FBA, sir. I am a black freedman. I am a leader. I'm not a follower. I am a black freedman, sir. I am a Pan-Africanist. Now, with that being said, why are the Democrats, if white Democrats want the black vote November the 3rd, we will vote for them on one condition. If white Democrats want my people to come out and vote for you on November the 3rd, let me tell you what you got to do. Because most white senators are millionaires. And most white U.S. reps are millionaires. So if you are white and you want the black vote November the 3rd, don't call up Al Sharpton. Don't call up Roland Martin. Don't call up Ben Crump. Don't call up Tamika Mallory. Don't call up the black church. Don't call up the black Greeks. Don't call up the NAACP. Don't call up the Urban League. If you want the black vote November the 3rd and you are a white Democrat, I want you to dig in your pocket. We want you, if you want the black vote November the 3rd, white Democrats, dig in your pocket and build a relevant black institution for black people before November the 3rd, and we will consider voting for you. I'm going to say it again. Because all of you are millionaires. You don't get to the U.S. Senate unless you got a couple $1 million. So all of you are millionaires. If you want the black vote, I need to see some independent black schools. I need to see some independent black hospitals. I need to see some independent black banks. I need to see some independent black supermarkets. I need to see some independent black manufacturing plants and distribution networks. If the white Democrat wants the black vote on November the 3rd, show us you care by building some black institutions with your own money. That is the only thing you can do to convince us to vote for you. That's right. Dig in your damn pocket. I didn't say no federal grants. I didn't say one word about a federal grant. I said dig in your pocket and build some independent black institutions by November the 3rd. And we might vote for you. Now, with that being said, I do want black people to take state legislature elections serious. Now that the Supreme Court has busted up black voting power, we have to look to the state. And if they overturn the 14th Amendment, we won't be federal citizens anyway, so we can only vote for state reps and state senators. So you had better find out who your state rep is. You had better find out who your state senator is. You better find out what the issues that are coming up for a vote in your respective state. I want us to turn up and turn out for state elections. I want us to turn up and turn out and vote for our black elected officials in the state race. And if your state rep or your state senator is a coon, find somebody to switch them out. We want to de-coon all state legislators. We want to de-coon all state legislatures. We want to de-coon all state legislatures. So if your state rep is a sellout, if your state senator is an Uncle Tom, find out who's running against them, or find out who you can get to run against them, because the state is becoming more important than the feds. The state is becoming more important than the feds. Brothers and sisters, get your passport. Get your passport. Do not trust the Democrats. In fact, after this election, November 3rd, black people may no longer be relevant to another federal election. If you don't have no majority black voting blocks, why would any candidate listen to you anyway? If you don't have any majority black voting blocks, why would any white candidate listen to you anyway? If you don't have any majority black federal voting blocks, why would they listen to you anyway? For what? This might be the last federal election where you are relevant. I blame us for letting them give us that Barack Obama sleeping pill. That Barack Obama sleeping pill, that was a hell of a drug. That Barack Obama sleeping pill was one hell of a drug. That Barack Obama sleeping pill, and you Negroes was all over the TV. I'm so happy the president is black. I don't care if he don't do nothing for me. I'm just happy the president is black. Well, he didn't do anything for you. He didn't. You got your wish. He ain't do nothing for you. And Joe Biden didn't do nothing for you. And that's why Donald Trump don't have to do nothing for you. If the Democrats don't have to service black people, the Republicans don't have to service black people. And who said the Democrats don't have to service black people? Y'all did. You politically ignorant Negroes was all over the TV and all over the internet telling the world that Barack Obama don't have to do nothing but be black. And now your voting power is all busted up. I do want to know what the FBAs and ADOS is going to do about this problem, since they care about black people. I want to know what the plan is. As I said, y'all have more in common than white Americans than black Africans. So what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do about this? Because you can't blame the black immigrants. They have nothing at all to do with this. And if you still think the black immigrant is your biggest problem in America, if you are a black freedman and you still think the black immigrant is your biggest problem in America, I need to give you an IQ test. I need to give you, if you think the black immigrant is your biggest problem, you better wake up and smell the coffee. Your biggest problem is the United States Congress, the United States Supreme Court, and the United States President. You don't have a friend in the president. You don't have a friend in the Supreme Court, and you don't have a friend in Congress. That's your problem. And then your state legislatures is your problem. Who controls the prisons? The state. Who controls the schools? The state. We are back in Jim Crow. We are not on our way back to Jim Crow. We are in Jim Crow. Are y'all listening to me? I don't care if you live in Pennsylvania, California, New Jersey, Texas, Georgia, New York, Connecticut, Minneapolis, Detroit, Chicago, Memphis, St. Louis, Kansas City. We are back in Jim Crow. We have never been this weak and this targeted since Reconstruction. We don't have an organization that fights for us. We don't have no politicians that fight for us. We don't have no real grassroots organizations that fight for us. I'm going to give a shout out to the Black Panther Party and the Fred Hampton Gun Club and the Huey P. Newton Gun Club, because at least they still defend Black life. They are the only relevant organizations I see, the self-defense organizations. Shout out to all the self-defense organizations. As a matter of fact, I think we need to have a Black militia conference, because I think every African in America needs to join one of the Black militias so we can prepare to defend ourselves if it comes to that. I need you to understand, overstand, and understand. I think we need to have a unify or die Black militia. Every Black militia got to be there. Every branch of the Black Panther Party got to be there. You're going to have to put your differences to the side for the sake of the race. The ego of the Negro is not more important than the people. I said the ego of the Negro is not more important than the people. I said the ego of the Negro is not more important than the people. All the militias need to come together. I will facilitate it. We need to organize our people, and everybody gets trained. That will swell the ranks of the Panthers. That will swell the ranks of the Fred Hampton Gun Club. That will swell the ranks of the Huey P. Newton Gun Club. That will flood the ranks of the Malcolm X Gun Club. That will flood the ranks, and we will be prepared. We ain't looking for trouble. We don't want no trouble, but we have to be able to defend our women, our children, and our elders. Since Black men want to be Black kings so damn bad, since you want control and you want authority, well, congratulations, Black men. Get your ass off YouTube. Get your ass off the internet. It's time to get trained. It's time to organize. And it's time to come up with a strategy to defend our men, women, elders, and children. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. It's time for a Black militia conference. Let's do it, y'all. Let's do it, and we need to do it soon. Because right now, our people are disorganized. I want to do a few tap-ins. Who tapping in? I think I'm going to do a few tap-ins. Who want to tap in with the Prince? Kings and queens, who want to tap in with the Prince? Let's do a few tap-ins. Go ahead and request to come up. Go ahead and request to come up to talk to the Prince. Who wants to tap in? Anybody want to tap in tonight? Going once. Going twice. Okay, we must not have no tap. There we go. Come up. Sister Nyla going once. Sister Nyla going twice. How you doing, my beautiful sister?
I'm blessed and highly favored. How you doing tonight?
I'm all right. What city you in, Queen?
I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, actually.
Oh, wow. You're in Memphis. So please give us an update. You got all your brothers and sisters from around the world on the Dr. Umar Live tonight. I got 1 million subscribers. I get 20 million hits a month on Instagram. What is the feeling of our people on ground zero? Are they paying attention? Do they even care? Are they still hip hopped out? NBA playoffs out? What is the feeling on the ground right now?
I'm not gonna lie, it's mixed feelings. It's mixed feelings depending on what side of Memphis you're on, right? Because it is truly street by street. They are separated. They did just decide that they voted for the Tennessee governor to go ahead and split up our congressional districts so that
And did they already split? Is
Shelby
it split?
County, they already decided
So it's already split.
they're going to do it.
Okay,
So
but follow me, Queen. Did they do it yet, or they just about to do it? But not it ain't. In other words, have you been notified what your
they
new
have not
district
been.
is?
We have not been notified.
Okay,
They
okay,
went to. They had to vote,
okay.
and they voted to go ahead and do it
Right.
and split our. Now we're protesting every day in Memphis, so we have a lot of grassroots. We have a lot of community, but it's like you said, it's all discombobulated. It's
Okay.
all led by. So it's
Okay.
not what it needs to be. It's
Okay.
not.
So
We
it's
as Black
not the
people.
mass. It's not the mass turnout we need.
Exactly. It's more than not the mass turnout. People are annoyed by the protests in Memphis. They're like, oh my God, the protest. Do you know
So you
how
saying
out
you
of
got
sync you
black
have to be with
folks?
what the fuck is going on to think some shit like that? You
So you
don't think
saying
honk honk like
there's black folks who upset that black folks are protesting?
because they rather make sure they get to work on time because God forbid the protests make them late. But they forgot the only reason why they're able to work is because there were workers that went on strike so that you had the right to work.
Wow.
But you don't want the people that's doing the strike now to do what we need
Wow.
to do. We're missing
Wow.
we're missing a lot of pieces. We're missing a lot of leadership. We're missing a succinct voice in Memphis that can be followed, that can be, lead like unabashedly, like unafraid for people to critique. Like because right now, like Memphis Congress, all the people up in first of all, fuck y'all. They gave away our water. Water. Memphis had the most valuable water in the United States. Our aquifer was deep by decades and decades and decades. And they stole our water and they're using it to rich computers. And that shit
Elon
supposed to make
Musk.
sense.
That's
They
the
just
is
voted
that
it.
the
They just voted it. They just did it. They didn't care.
is
So if
that the
Memphis
Elon
doesn't come
Musk
out and vote,
situation? Is that
mhm,
the Elon Musk situation? What's going on with Elon Musk
Elon
down there?
Musk and his wind turbines that are poisoning our air. So that's a different thing. So XAI is poisoning our air and our water because they have the wind turbines that are leaving, that nasty. It smells so bad in Memphis now. The air quality is terrible. Of course, this has cancerous effects. Of course, this is going to affect our little babies and children. I have a 2-year-old, so of course, that's important to me, like her being able to breathe and having her lungs develop correctly, of course. And then just being a person that's born and raised in Memphis, 901. I went to FAMU for college. Like I didn't graduate because hey, life happens. But with that being said, like I understand black excellence. We need to bring it together. Memphis ain't seen that. When I went to FAMU, I was like, there are black people like this. Because Memphis is like not that. Like people are genuinely asleep here. And I do not mean that. I have a lot of people in Memphis. I will shout out Chief Reefa and his wife. Shout out there's so many grassroots people in Memphis that are doing the groundwork. They're leading the protests. They're teaching people how to love and that they're teaching what it really needs to be a community. And they're building exactly what's needed.
I got it.
The problem is not enough people are seeking that out. We're too
Question.
distracted by our jobs and our rent and our mortgage and our late car payment. But guys, all that shit was created to distract you. It doesn't really
Yes.
exist.
40-hour a
If we
week
stop
slaves.
paying it, what are they
40
gonna
hour a
do?
week slaves. 40
If
hour
you
a
do
week
the
slaves.
math on the amount of black people in America, and you look at it, just they say that we're only 10%. I don't believe that, but even so, if 300,000 people stop paying their light bill and their water bill, they cannot turn off all of our stuff. Like, if we can organize and just understand, like, all of our power now, since they stripped our political power, wake up, guys. All of our power is now financial. So put your boots on. We're going to have to get some money, get our money up, get our
I
money up.
got a
Like,
question. I got a question for you, Queen, and thanks for tapping in. My last question for you. Memphis is one of the most concentratedly black cities in America. I've been there plenty of times. I love Memphis. My question to you is, are you guys starting to get gentrified? Are you beginning to see the whites taking over the inner city?
That was the next part I was about to say, bro. You can't even. They're trying to turn South Memphis into downtown. South Memphis, they taking the
Mm,
projects and turning it into gentrified apartments. It's white people walking their
mm,
kids 2 streets away from where people are getting murdered every day. You're like crossing over the train tracks downtown. Beautiful skyline. Here's the Memphis Bridge. 2 streets over, there was a kid killed here by another 17-year-old 3 days ago. And
mm,
like the little
mm.
corner store right there, the white people they walk over there still because they're not scared because they know that's all being pushed out. They're relocating them right now. They know it's on its way out.
Wow.
The beautiful
Wow.
parts of Memphis are being gentrified, remodeled, and black people are being told we can't live there. See, I'm from Midtown. So everybody, like, I'm a black girl, and when people hear my voice, they're like, you're not from Memphis. Because God forbid I don't sound like a nigga. God forbid I have some intellect. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I'm like, no, I'm from Memphis, born and raised, but I always sounded like this. My family's from Chicago. Being able to understand, like, that in itself, that people expect you to be ignorant because you're from Memphis. That's annoying to me, and I've dealt
Gotcha.
with it my entire
Gotcha.
life. So
So,
that's the mindset of most Memphians, though. That's the thing about being here. I moved away for a long time. Coming back, I'm like, oh God, we are broken. We are really broken. And the legislature has, guess what, been riding along just stealing money. They got all these, since I have all the, DHS and the federal department, all these people here, they're doing all these investigations internally on a lot of our like congressmen and chairmen, and a lot of them been stealing money, spending the funds illegally, and we still got potholes in the streets and cars tires
wow.
popping everywhere we go. I
I
mean,
remember,
just being able no development downtown for where the black people where black people are, only where the white people go, and they don't let us rent there. If you look like you might be black on your rental application, it's some buildings you will not get in, and they're very
wow.
nice. And
Wow.
you would think they're like there's areas of Midtown and downtown that you don't see any black people. If you go out only Monday through Friday and you don't go out on the weekends, you will not see any black people
Wow.
because that's who's
Thank you,
moved there.
Queen. Thanks for tapping in. I appreciate you, Queen. Be safe down there.
You too.
Okay, Mama. God bless you. That was our Memphis Queen. Who want to tap in again? We got anybody from Alabama? We're the Louisiana family, the South Carolina family, the Georgia family, because you guys are the first ones to get attacked. They're going to go across the whole country, but you guys are the first ones to get attacked. Who coming up next? Where the Louisiana Africans at? Where the Mississippi and the South Carolina Africans at? And the Georgia Africans at? It's time for a Black Militia Conference. All Black militias must come together to meet. I'm going to be convening that. If you lead a Black militia, I need you to text my phone. We got a king coming on up. Get a king a minute. Where my brother at? Going once. He declined. He declined. He declined. He declined. Who tapping in? Who tapping in? Where the Louisiana Africans at? Sister Paula going once. Decline. Everybody's scared to talk now. Whithaven. Whithaven going once. Whithaven. What's up, King?
What's up, Dr. Umar?
I'm all right. Where you at in the world?
I'm in Georgia, man. What's going on?
What part of Georgia?
Lithonia.
Okay. What's your take on this whole thing about the Supreme Court and the black Democrats, white Democrats, black people being put back in Jim Crow? What's the feeling in Georgia? Our brothers and sisters organizing? Because you know they're about to hit Georgia. You know they want to split up Atlanta. They want to
No,
split Atlanta up.
I ain't know that. I didn't
Oh, it's coming, my brother. It's coming.
know that.
It's coming. They want to split up the whole Confederacy. You got to take Georgia.
So I think I need to do some more homework, man. I don't want to speak on something I ain't too knowledgeable on, man.
I
But
got you. But what is the people doing? Are they trying to? Or
I
is
don't, I,
there any black organization down
I
there?
don't.
Or the people?
I'm
No.
not seeing it. I'm not seeing it, Dr. Umar. I can't tell you that that I'm seeing that, man.
Okay.
But like I said, I got to do some more homework too. I got to do my due diligence on that and check into that, man.
I got you. I got you. I got you. What
But
is your opinion on just the way everything going right now nationally with this whole political backlash against black folks to push us back to Jim Crow? What's your feeling on it?
man, I think it's all a ploy, man. I think it's all that same ploy to get us to go against each other, man, like we used to doing, man. Um, and I think we falling for it too. In the same instance, I think we falling for it, man.
I feel you.
Um, and I think, like I said, man, it ain't enough. There ain't enough of us coming together to try to, game plan and strategize on certain things. And yeah, man, it's gonna be I don't know, man. It's gonna be some different coming around, and people ain't ready for it, man.
I feel you. I feel
People
you,
ain't
brother.
ready
You got
for
your
it.
passport?
I don't, man. I'm
Get your
working on it, but
passport,
I
King.
don't.
Get your
I
passport.
Yes, sir. I
Go
ain't
to
gonna
the
hold you.
post office, get the application. Start it
Yes,
now.
sir. Yes,
Because you know
sir.
they backed up. They backed up. So get that passport rolling, brother, just in
Okay,
case we
cool.
got to do a great escape. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. I
Get that
got you.
passport.
All
All
right,
right,
brother.
King.
I ain't
Be
gonna
safe.
hold
I
you up too
check with you.
long, man.
All right, man. Be safe,
All right,
brother.
yes, sir.
All right, bro. All right. Sister Dope Soul going once. Sister Dope Soul going twice. Sister Dope
Oh my
Soul
god.
going three times. How you
Oh
doing,
my
my beautiful African
goodness.
sister?
Hi, Dr. Umar, I cannot believe I'm on this live with you.
Yes, you
I'm
are
doing
my
great. How
queen.
are
What
you?
city you in? Where you at, my sister?
We're in Oakland, California.
I was
Me
supposed
and
to
my
be in
son.
Oakland. I was supposed to be there May
I
23rd,
know.
but I ain't going to be there May 23rd, but I'm still going to be coming back to Oakland though. I just don't have a date for y'all right now. What is
Okay.
your opinion on what's going on? And what is the feeling amongst the brothers and sisters over there in the Bay Area and with the whole Gavin Newsom situation and the reparations in California? And just tell me your opinion and what you see going on in the ground down there with our people.
I mean, I think the opinions are really mixed depending on who you talk to because obviously we're a very democratic state. And so a lot of people are aligned with the democratic agenda. And then there are some of us that are more focused on our community specifically. And I watch you a lot and I listen to you a lot. And so that has made me concerned about the conversation around reparations. I think what I'm hearing isn't aligned with what we really need. So honestly, my focus has really just been on the relationships between men and women in our community and not so much the politics because I honestly don't know enough. And listening to you, it doesn't sound like that's in our benefit to be as invested. And it's also just really overwhelming the system. And so yeah, that's kind of my take on where we're
I
at
got
out
a
here.
question for you. I got a question for you. As
Mhm.
we know, they moved the Golden State Warriors to San Francisco. My question to you is what was the political agenda behind that? What are the plans for Oakland? Did they do that because they just want to gentrify the black people out of Oakland? Or are they just going to let Oakland become the new hood to San Francisco? Why do you feel politically they moved the Golden State Warriors to San Fran?
That's a really good question. I think everything that you said is an answer. It's really confusing because it feels like they took all of our teams. We don't even have a Walmart. Like it's really, really
So
like you
there's
need to.
no infrastructure in Oakland anymore.
So what's interesting is absolutely no, but there's still a level of gentrification that makes it confusing because it's like you're taking everything. We don't have a Walmart. We're impoverished, but I'm seeing more and more white families move in. So I don't really understand. It's like it feels like they're raising the rent, so they're trying to push us out to Stockton, but then they're taking all of the things that would make it appealing to white people, I would think, or people
You
that
know
are
what it is? You
gentrifying.
know what I think it might be, Queen, based on what you just said. So they took the Golden State Warriors and put them in San Fran because they want San Fran to be the metropolis. So that's the city. Put all the city stuff in the city. Let's turn Oakland into a lily white suburb and force all the black people out to Stockton. In other
Right.
words, I think they want to make Oakland the suburb of San Fran and raise the rent and the property tax and force all the black folks out the Stockton. You see that? In other words, because not a lot of white people want to live right by the stadium. They want to go to the games, but they don't necessarily want the stadium in their neighborhood because of everything that comes with that. Remember, suburbs are supposed to be quiet and slow. So they're like, let's put the Golden State Warriors in San Fran because San Fran is already a metropolis. And let's turn Oakland into the suburb of the metropolis. You see what I'm saying? So Oakland is going to be the suburb where the rich whites live, and they just go to work in San Fran or go to the football and basketball games in San Fran. But Oakland will be the white suburb, and all the blacks got to go. And the only way they can get y'all out of there is to raise up the rent and the property tax.
That makes sense, but being here and living here and being from here, I can't wait till you come. It's really complicated to understand that when it's very segregated in terms of there are parts in Oakland and the Bay that are predominantly black or mixed, and they are so impoverished. It's like I don't even. And
Wow.
then right around the corner, they're extremely wealthy to the point where it's like very confusing why you would put such a wealthy neighborhood right next to such a impoverished community. And so as you're talking, I just it's hard when I'm seeing both things at the same time right now. And I hear what you're saying, and I hear that, but I'm just confused as to how they are planning to move that agenda forward when
Because
it's
I
just
saw
a
the 10 cities when I was out there last. I didn't get a chance to go to Oakland, but I was in Sacramento. I was in I was in three places right around. Sa- Sacramento is an hour from what's the other black city above Oakland? There's Sacramento, and then there's another city that's an hour from Sacramento.
there's Marin City, Richmond, Vallejo. I'm trying to
Was it
think.
Richmond? I'm
Richmond would be the next
I
predominantly
might have
black
been in
city after
Richmond, but I
Oakland.
went to three different ones. It was three different cities, three different lectures, and they had a homeless city. I'd never seen nothing like it in my life. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like up there in Northern Cali, they have like a whole neighborhood where it's nothing but homeless people. Like everybody is in a box or in a sleeping bag. It was a whole tent city. I've never seen nothing like that. I've never seen it. It blew my mind that they had that many homeless people in one place. And then when I was out there, somebody told me that the state or the city, at least in one of them areas, they said they got to break it up. So I said, where they going to send all these homeless people at? I think they said they was going to start locking them up or something. It was so many of them. I said, I know y'all can't lock all these people up. It's too many. But they said they decided that it has to be broken up, I guess because it's growing too big, because the cost of living in California is so expensive. You know what I mean? But yeah, I saw, they drove me through it. They said, Doc, you got to see this. And I think they took me to two different homeless. It's like a city, and it's nothing but homeless people. It blew my mind to see.
It's not the yeah, I'm sure you know the Tenderloins. I can't be That's the only thing that I can think of that reflects what you're talking
Okay,
about in San
okay, I can't
Francisco.
remember which one it was. I can't
Um,
remember which one it was. We left. We left Sacramento. You know what? I might have it on my phone. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I normally keep all my lectures in my phone. Let me see something. Let me put Antioch,
oh, okay,
Antioch,
okay.
California,
Hmm.
Sacramento, Antioch, and it was one more place. It might have been Antioch, and they had a tent city out this world. Skid row like crazy, man. But Queen, thanks for tapping in. I'm gonna
Wait,
keep it.
Dr. Umar, can I ask one question?
Sure, sure, sure.
Okay, it's kind of a long question, and if you have to cut me off, I
Nah, you
understand.
good.
You have helped me so much in so many ways, but one of the big ways is recognizing how I have contributed to the discourse and divisiveness within our community, right? By judging and valuing our men on things that are patriarchal, white supremacist values. So I'm now trying to approach the conversation online in a way that is shifting that and being open. Like I want to hear like how can we be better? I want to take accountability as women, but it's really hard when you see what's going on online, and I see you speaking to a lot when it's met with there's so much hatefulness and divisiveness that if you could give any recommendations, thoughts on insight for somebody, a woman that is trying to provide healing in the ways that I can as just one person, what would be your recommendations, thoughts, suggestions?
Here's my recommendation for my sisters. I got 3 of them for you and all the queens on the live. Number 1, y'all have so much to give, right? Because you are the feminine principle. You are the feminine manifestation of supreme consciousness, the Almighty. Y'all have a lot of love to give, a lot of nurture, a lot of affection. That's good. I need y'all to be more discerning on who you choose to give it to. Because what happens with the queens is y'all will indiscriminately burn yourselves out emotionally and spiritually by giving all that love and nurture to a particular brother who does not deserve it. And then when you run into the next brother who does deserve it, you're so traumatized and untrusting by what the last brother did. I see you smiling because you're like, wait a minute, that might be me a little bit. But
No, you're
anyhow,
on point.
you're so traumatized by what the last brother did that you now have a brother who needs that, wants that, deserves that, but you're so burned out because you didn't do a good job choosing on who you chose to give your nurture to. So y'all have to save it until you make sure you got the right person, because there's too much mismatching going on. And so
Mm.
now the brother who you would have been perfect with, y'all now falling out because you done already gave what was his to someone else because you didn't know he was coming along. So I need sisters to wait. To wait. Y'all have to exercise patience. Same thing with us as men. You have to exercise patience, because if you willfully go into an unfulfilling situation with a spiritual vampire, and now the spiritual vampire is draining all your energy, and then you break up with the spiritual vampire, meet the king you need, and you completely depleted. You ain't got nothing to offer him but a bad attitude. Under any other circumstance, y'all might have been a good couple, but because you came
Mm.
to him burned out, or he came to you burned out, y'all burn each other out further. Sisters have to discriminate more. It's almost like as soon as y'all give up the yoni, y'all automatically want to bond and attach to that man. And sometimes, first of all, y'all need to pull back on the yoni. That's number 1. But number 2, if you do end up going there, you have to still tell yourself, I probably shouldn't have gave him any of my treats. He didn't deserve it, but I did. Let me cut my losses where I am. Because what y'all try to do is once y'all give them the physical, y'all try to make the social work. Y'all try to make the psychological work. Y'all try to make the spiritual work. It ain't there. So now you're going to deplete yourself even further. Now you're going to keep on giving to this person who don't deserve you because you feel guilty that you gave him your essence. And because you gave him your essence, you now feel like you got to force a relationship on him. Cut
Mm.
your losses, heal the yoni. It can resurrect just like Christ. Find the next man and make sure you're choosing the right person. Y'all have to practice better discernment, because a lot of times y'all know going in, he was the wrong one. But that loneliness demon, there's a demon called loneliness. And what that loneliness demon does, it does it to our men and it does it to our women. It forces us to not exercise patience. It forces us to not take our time, and it forces us to feel like I gotta have somebody now. You don't have to have nobody now. You have yourself. Remember, only people who can comfortably be alone with themselves will make a good partner. Think
Mm.
about anybody you know in your family, male or female, who don't have a good relationship with themselves. 90% of the time, they don't have a good relationship with anybody romantically either.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be at peace with yourself. So when sisters go from relationships to relationships, when I see a brother go from relationship to relationship, that's somebody who's not at peace with themselves. And they're trying to lose themselves in the relationship. Y'all have to practice better discernment because when y'all meet the good guys, y'all burned out. And it's not fair to the good guys that they have to deal with a burned out, traumatized queen. And now he's hanging around for you to get replenished. He's hanging around for you to heal, but we don't know how long that's going to be because you might be able to heal in 1 year. Next sister might need 5 years to heal because you got to remember every time you get hurt in a relationship, that hurt is automatically attached to all of your previous hurts, all the way back to your parents of origin. You see that? So you got to heal all of those wounds. Because if I hurt you in a relationship right now, Queen, your memory of that pain is going to attach itself to your memory of all the other previous pains, which means I opened up Pandora's box. You ain't just healing from what I just did. Because I opened up Pandora's box when I traumatized you. And now you got to close all those trauma boxes again. You might have 20 trauma boxes. And that man that opened up every trauma box. And now you got to heal all 20 of those trauma boxes before you can date again. I need the queens to take your time. Stop moving like men. Y'all have to stop moving like men because you all are the mothers. If the mothers are not healthy, the village is not healthy. If the mothers are not healthy, the village is not healthy. And I'm going to say this, not to interject polygyny, because I'm not saying it for polygyny's purposes, but I just want you to hear me out.
Okay.
I believe we have more good women than men. That's not a knock on my brothers. It's just that it's more of you all numerically than us. So no matter how you cut the cake, there's going to be more good women than good men. And when I look at the amount of good women who have been traumatized, I say to myself, those two could have been with him and we won't have this problem because he's a good dude and he can financially take care of them both. He could fill them up spiritually. He could fill them up financially. Black women are going to have a conversation. Why are so many of you dealing with traumatized brothers who can't do nothing for you when two of you could have went to a good brother? And the only reason why so many sisters are not considering the polygyny is because how other women think about it. If
Listen,
we want to save, stay with me, if we want to save the Black community, we're going to have to do some different stuff. Because if you look at the male-female ratio, just the numbers, we're not even dealing with quality, just the numbers. You got cities where you got one man for 10 Black women. You got cities where you got one man for 20 Black women. And this is not even taking into account trauma, mental illness, the zesty festers. We're not even dealing with none of that. We just doing pure numbers. So it is not realistic for you to be one of 10 queens in a city where the ratio is 1 to 10, and you trying to find a good brother on top of that. That's going to be hard. I'm not saying everybody got to do it. I'm not saying every sister got to accept it. If it ain't for you, it ain't for you. But we are not going to fix this unless Black women allow good men to have more than one sometimes, in some places, under some circumstances. Because what we doing now, swapping all these demons, swapping all, and that's the other reason why y'all got to slow down. Because y'all receptive, Queen. Y'all the mothers. So y'all take us in. Y'all devour our energy. It's the way it is. The vagina is like a suction for spirit. Let's just be real. And so when you take in a man's energy, I'm not talking about his semen, I'm talking about his spirit. When you take him in, he's a part of you forever. I don't know if women know that there's a piece of every man that you have been with who stays with you forever. Y'all got to understand this. This is a biological fact. Y'all don't ever totally get rid of them. A piece of us always stays with y'all. So y'all have to really exercise discretion with who y'all deal with. Because if you don't, you're going to end up finding the right man, but you're not going to be in the right place.
can I
Go ahead.
respond real quickly because
Sure,
I
sure,
want
sure,
to
sure.
give other people a chance. But let
Sure.
me say this, and I'm trying to be serious. You the only person I will practice polygamy with.
I
But
appreciate you, man.
separately than that, when you come to Oakland,
Hmm.
first of all, I appreciate you so much. We love you out here,
Thank you,
and
Queen.
there
Thank
is such a detrimental pimp culture for so many
you.
reasons, right? And it is
Mm.
very alive in Oakland. I think it would really be beneficial if you can speak to that and its impact in the Black community when you come out here. Also, if I'm having these conversations with Black men. I'm very involved in the community and all this. I'm gonna let you go, but if it is on your heart to do so, I would love to have a conversation with you,
Okay. Okay.
even just to learn more about, how I can support our community and be a part of solutions. But I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate you so
Before you
much.
let
Like,
me go, before you
mhm.
let me go, I need you to see, because the problem with me in Oakland is always finding the space we can use for the event. That is always the problem with Oakland. So what I need for you to do for me, Queen, it's not a rush, but as soon as you find a space, I'm going to say 200, 2 to 3. I'm going to say three. Two might be a little too small. A 300 seater. It could be a church, community center, private event space. I really don't want it to be white though. It need to be kind of in our hood. You know what I'm saying? But see if you can find a space that can sit about 300. Because once,
Can I tell you, I
sure.
have one for you.
Okay.
I'm the
Okay.
CEO of 211 Alameda County. I don't know if you're familiar with 211. It's like 411. Anybody in the county of Alameda, which is a predominantly, well, the people that need support are predominantly Black. They call 211, we connect them to resources. And
Okay.
so I have a lot of connections in the community where there are spaces that would love to host you, including
Okay.
faith-based and otherwise.
Okay.
So let's connect if it's on your heart to do so. I'm so glad that you
Got you.
allowed me to
Question.
join
Do
your
you have
life.
my cell?
I don't.
Take it down. Take it down. Are you able to put it in
Oh
your
my
phone and write it?
God, son, come here, hurry up, cause I don't want to lose this. Take this number down.
Let me know when you're ready, Queen.
Okay, he's ready.
215
Uh huh.
989 9858. I'm going to repeat that. 215 989 9858. Shoot me a text. Let me know it's you, the queen I just spoke with, and we're
Okay.
going to link up because as soon as we get that space, I'm going to give you a date and we can let the people know I'm coming back out there.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna text you and
Okay.
so just to make sure, 215-989-9858.
You got it.
Okay, my name is Jasmine. I'm gonna text you. I
Sister
appreciate
Jazz.
you so much.
Thank you, Sister
Okay,
Jazz.
thank you.
Appreciate you, babe. All right, mama.
All
Be
right,
safe,
bye.
y'all. Okay, let's get two brothers tapped in. Let's get two brothers tapped in. Let's get two brothers tapped in. Okay. Brother Anthony going once. Brother Anthony going twice. Brother Ant, where you at? Where Brother Ant at? All right, I got to take him off. Uh, hold on. Let me bring Bob up. That's my wall. Brother Derek. All right, it seemed like, oh, wait, there was a new request right there. Let's go with Legendary. Legendary going once. Legendary going twice. Where Legendary at? Cancel Legendary. I don't know what's going on with the request, y'all. Okay, brothers and sisters, it's 12:30. Thank y'all for tapping in. Brothers, I'll get to you next time. Hit your PayPal, paypal.me/FDMG Academy, paypal.me/FDMG Academy. Get your passport, get your security. Okay, May 23rd, Charlotte, North Carolina, very possible. June 18th, Franklin, Virginia. June 19th, Hampton, Virginia. June 20th, Dothan, Alabama. August the 20th, Cincinnati. August the 21st, Nat Turner Land. August the 1st, London, England. And we got a few other spots coming up, brothers and sisters. If you need to reach me, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858. Peace and Pan-Africanism. And don't forget to join my Patreon. Go to Patreon tonight, patreon.com/DRUMAR, Dr. Umar with no period, patreon.com/DRUMAR. Peace and Pan-Africanism.